Hey guys, Andrey here, and in this video I'm going to show you the Noah's Ark trap in Ruy Lopez. So it goes like e4, e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, and bishop to b5. We enter the Ruy Lopez with this move. And against the Steinitz defense, which is d6, what usually plays something like d4. I mean, it's not the only move, but one of the possibilities. So let's have a look if it works the same way against the Modern Steinitz, which starts with a6, bishop a4, and then d6. So what is going to happen if white plays the same d4 in this position? So it appears that the inclusion of the moves a6 and bishop a4 changes the position and gives black additional tactical possibility. So black may play b5 here, bishop goes to b3, and now knight captures on d4. So black eliminates the central pawn and forces white to recapture, because otherwise it's possible to grab the Spanish bishop, the key piece of this opening. So knight takes on d4, pawn takes on d4, and it feels like it's okay just to take the pawn on d4 here with the queen, because black has weakened so many different squares and diagonals, so why not? Moreover, white creates a threat of queen d5, or maybe even a bishop captures f7 followed by queen d5, but all this is not true. So in this position, black just plays c5 move, attacking the queen, and the idea is simple. When the queen goes away, black wants to play c4, trapping the bishop. So nothing really works here. If white decides to start with, say, bishop takes f7 here, then after king takes f7 and queen to d5 check, attacking the king and the rook simultaneously, black has very simple bishop e6, attacking the queen and protecting the rook at the same time. If white goes to d5 immediately after c5 move, hoping to survive it because of the check on c6, so queen goes to d5, bishop goes to e6, obviously protecting the f7 and the rook at the same time. So white continues with the queen to c6 check. Well, it doesn't work either, because bishop simply gets back to d7, attacking the queen, and after white's come back to d5, rook is no longer hanging, so bishop e6 is no longer needed, and black just continues with the original idea, c5, c4, trapping the bishop. Of course, white may take on c4 here and play that position, having some slight material compensation for missing minor piece, but anyway, it's just a missing minor piece. So how to avoid the worst thing? So what was actually the decisive mistake? It appears that the decisive mistake is exactly the capturing of the pawn on d4. So if white doesn't take this pawn, of course this idea with c5, c4 doesn't work. And white has different moves here, because indeed black has weakened his position. So one of the possibilities is just to play a4 right now, because a6 and b5 are vulnerable pawns. It's a typical thing to undermine them. At the moment, white has created just a direct threat of winning the pawn, because rook on a8 is not protected, so something like this threatens. And black has to react somehow. Another more general way is just to undermine the d4 pawn with a c3, and this is something which white may want to play in many different lines in similar situations. So it's kind of a gambit continuation. White may want to sacrifice a pawn for faster development, and well, the compensation will be, several weaknesses on the queen side and better situation in the center. In this particular case, it is also possible to equalize chances after d4 takes c3. For instance, in this case, queen goes to d5, attacking the rook and the pawn on f7. Black has to protect both, so bishop goes to e6. And now white just gives check on c6. And the problem of black here is that it's impossible to play queen to d7. In that case, rook drops. King to e7 also doesn't look very satisfying, and this means the best option for black here is just to come back with the bishop to d7, then queen goes to d5, again attacking f7 and still controlling the rook on a8. and black has nothing better than bishop to e6. Why? Because, well, knight cannot go to h6, bishop c1 controls that square, and queen cannot leave the back rank. So the only defense against the checkmate is bishop e6 and then queen c6 with a perpetual and hence a draw. So it's a pretty common thing. It's very simple to fall into this trap. Be careful, because it's not the only order of moves where you can get the similar situation. But after watching this video, I think you have a better understanding what the pattern is, and you will never fall into this trap. Thanks for your attention. See you next videos.